Alright, hello everyone, this is Team Rocket Draw, also known as 707 Rosan, with another video. And this time we're going to draw a Mega Scizor. So as you guys can see on screen, this is how he ends up looking like. So if you guys want to learn how to draw him, let's get started. I'm also going to put up a reference right now just to make it easier on you guys. That way you guys can look at the details and know what I'm doing during the video and talking about. So just keep in mind that he's not going to end up looking like the reference 100%, but we do get pretty close. Alright, so first of all, we're just going to start with this triangle shape right here, and as you guys can see, both sides are even. And usually I start by doing shapes like circles at the beginning, but this time we're just gonna go along. Alright, so as you guys can see, I start doing this line right here on the right side, and it's pretty long. And basically that's gonna be like the black thing that he has on top of the eye on the face. So that's our focal point. That's where we're gonna base everything on. So that's what we're gonna start doing. So right here I just split it off in the middle, because you guys see on the reference there is a line right there, but it's not gonna be like that. This is just to help us. And then this line is pretty small, as you guys see on the left, and we're just gonna connect it. And right now we're just trying to do a reference shapes. We're not doing like a rough sketch. We're not actually doing the right lines. In other words, right now we're just testing the lines, and then once we start doing more, we're gonna be able to change anything that doesn't look right, you know. So all these lines are not permanent. So now that we got this, you guys can see it's not pretty low, and we're just gonna connect it with the other one. And as you guys can see, the right one also makes like this triangle shape right here that I'm outlining, but it's pretty thin. And just look at the reference and try to get it the same, you know. So now that we got that, we can start doing the top of the head. For example, this one right here, this spread spike. And if you guys look at the reference, it does go higher than this point. So it does go a little bit higher than that. And then I do end up changing this later on, because it doesn't add up. Like I make it too small, so then I make it a little bit bigger. But basically it's the same thing as right here, as I'm doing right here. So just extend this line. And once again, I make this a little bit too small, so I do change that. So just you guys can wait a little bit longer, you know. Alright, so now for this one right here, we're gonna do this straight line on the right side. It doesn't go that low, and then we're just gonna connect it with this one, and just try to make this shape right here. Makes this honestly, I don't know the name of that shape, but as you guys can see, it makes it like rectangle shape, and it's even, you know, as I pointed out right there. Not one side is not bigger than the other one. It should be the same, and that's where our eye is gonna be. So now the eye starts like right under that triangle shape that he is at the top, that it's on the top, and then there is a pretty good gap on the right side, and then you guys could just make the eye right here. And like I said, this is just a rough sketch right now. I do make some changes. I believe I changed the top of the head right now in a little bit, make it higher, and then also the chest. I make it too long, so I do end up making it a little bit shorter. And then for the eye, you guys can use the reference just so you guys can get a better idea of how the eye looks. So right here I'm just fixing it. So when I do these kind of drawings, what I do is I look for shapes, and that's what ends up making it more accurate, more proportion to everything. It's not 100%, you know, but it gets you a little bit closer to the actual reference. So just look at the shapes. So then this one, we're gonna extend it, and it doesn't have to be like the reference. If there's something that you guys want to change on your drawing that doesn't add up, go for it, you know. I do make a lot of changes on my drawing just so it can look good on my drawing. So these lines, I'm making them too small. I'm making them too close to the face. So in a little bit, I do go back and erase that. And the reason I didn't cut this part off is just so I can show you guys that it's not, you don't always get it the first time, you know. And if you're not happy with it, change it. As long as it looks good on your drawing, it doesn't have to be like the reference, you know. So right here, what I was noticing is that just see that that spike on the top of the head makes another triangle shape, and it's pretty even. Both lines are pretty even. So this is where I erase it, because I noticed that it was too small, you know, compared to the face. So I make it the same but just extend it longer. As you guys can see, it's almost at the same level as where we started the other line, but it's just a little bit higher. And then this line right here, this makes this triangle shape going down. It makes like an M shape, as you can see the letter M right here with those spikes at the top, because those are pretty even. And honestly, Scizor was a little bit more complicated than I expected. So if you guys have a hard time, just keep in mind that it's just complicated. So he is hard. So then right here I'm looking at this one right here, and I just make any changes just so it could look better. You know, I'm looking at the reference. So right here I'm just fixing the lines a little bit. I'm looking at it to see if I'm happy with it, and if you are happy with the head, then it's time to continue. So now for the neck. The neck starts a little lower under the eye, and it's pretty close to the head. As you guys can see, the line's not that long. And right here we're just gonna do this line going across the neck area, and that's just gonna help us place like the claws later on, you know. So the neck is pretty small, it's pretty thin compared to everything. So you guys could look at the reference. It's basically the length of the eye almost. So now that we got that, we can start doing the little black line going down his chest. And honestly, I have a hard time actually make it too long right now. So that's one of those things that I do change in a little bit. So you guys could just look at the reference just to get a better idea. You guys could compare that line, the length of that line, with something else, for example the face. And that's what I tend to do. So now we're gonna start doing like this ball shape that he has as a chest. And actually I make it a little bit too long, but it doesn't look that bad later on. It's not like the reference, you know, but it doesn't look bad if you just look at my drawing. But once you compare my drawing with the reference, you notice that I made him a little bit longer than I should have. But he still looks good, you know, like he still looks like Scizor, so I'm happy with that. And you guys can see that line doesn't go further than the head, like the same. If you guys make a line going down the side of the head, it doesn't go further than that. And then right here I make a line go right where the point is, with the black line on the chest, and that's just gonna help us place the like the arms, like the shoulder areas. So that's what I start doing right now. So I start doing one of the arms, like the circle for the arm. And then right here he has like these lines. There's one right there. And as you guys can see, it doesn't go further than the mouth area. It's pretty close to the face, and it doesn't go that high. So right here I'm just looking at the gap between each line, how far one line goes to the other one, and then in the end you guys just connect them. If it doesn't look right, make any small changes. But once you have your lines, you're gonna get a better idea of anything that you can change, you know. And then right here it makes this like pointed oval shape right there. And then right here I just fix that line in the middle, in the inside of like where the arm starts, because it has a like circular shape, and it is like right in the middle of that shape. So this is where I noticed that I made it too long, so I do change it, or I didn't do it the right angle or something like that. So that's why I did those reference lines on the neckline, and then where the point ends right there, and I change it, yeah, because I changed the level of the line that he has on the chest. So now I have to change it on the arm, you know, and also the chest. So you're never gonna get it correct the first time, you know. Sometimes it's gonna take a few more tries. So now redo that line where the point is, just so we could get the shoulders, like the black shoulders that he has on the right place. So now we just started off there, and just look at the shape that it makes. You know, it makes this like a really extended egg shape. And then just try to find the middle and just make like half a circle. And now that's one of the shoulders. Now for the other one, you could just look at how far it is from like the black line on I mean the neck. Just see the reference how long that line is to the shoulder, and just see it's pretty small line. So that I use that as a reference. So now I'm using those lines that we did, those reference lines that we did across the page to do this shoulder, because it should be on the same level as the other one. So right here, just look at the reference, look at the lines, look at the shape that it makes, and just go step by step, you know, and just use those reference lines just so you can place them in the right area. That way you won't make it too big or too long compared to the other one. Then I noticed that this one right here, like the big one, it looks like a seed, like the shape of a seed. And then right here I change it because it's not at the right angle. So that's something you guys should always pay attention to, like the angle of the lines. That way it can match up later on even better, you know. So I noticed that this one's is pointing more to the right, so I just changed the angle a little bit. So it does take some time, you know. Usually when I draw, I take a while, like less than an hour, just to do a drawing, because the more time you spend on it, the more time that you could it just makes it better, you know. Because if you do it fast, then you're gonna miss a lot of things. For example, the angle of lines, the length of lines, and all that. So the more you pay attention to a drawing, the better it will end up, you know. Never hurry up to do a drawing, because it's never gonna be your best, you know. So now that we got that shape right here, we're gonna do like the circle on the inside. And once again, I'm looking at the reference, just so I can know that I'm placing it on the right spot. And as you guys can see, this circle is a lot bigger than the one on the left shoulder. Now that we got that, I'm looking at the line of this one right here, and it's a pretty small line once again. Erase the middle, we don't need it anymore. Right here I was just sharpening my pencil, because it's really good to have your pencil sharp. That way you could make thin lines, you know. So if you guys are using regular pencil, just try to keep your pencil sharp. Alright, so now for the claw. Right here I'm just seeing how far it is from the shoulder, and then I do a line going from this spike of the head across the page, and that's just gonna help me place this claw right here, because I know that it doesn't go higher than that. So now we know that to keep this claw in that at a certain height, you know. And then I do this kind of like a circle, almost a circle shape, and that's gonna be like where the black I'm guessing it's like a bow or a nail on the claws. And I know that it's almost the same size as the shoulder, and it's on the same level as the shoulder, so I do use that reference line. So right here I'm just trying to get the angle of the claw, so I change it a little bit. So I'm trying to make it the same as the reference. You guys have it on screen, so it's easier for you guys, because I use my tablet, and my tablet I have it in front of me, and the drawing is pretty small, so it's harder for me to see how far lines are, how small details, in other words. So I have a harder time. And then right here I was just measuring. I was looking that the claw is roughly the length of that, the chest to the point of the head. So it's just a rough estimate, you know. And then I know that it shouldn't go higher than that line that we did earlier from the hairline. And then right here I just connect those two and just try to get this rectangle shape. And then right here just pointing out that it should be the same thickness, so it shouldn't be skinnier on one side than the other one, you know, to be more simple. in simpler words. And then right here I'm using a paper. You guys can use a ruler, but it just makes it a lot more easier. So right here I'm measuring it, and as you guys can see, it does get bigger. It gets wider as it goes, but not by that much. So then I know the bottom starts around here. So then I extend that, and then I try to make it thinner than the one on the top. And then once again, try to make it parallel to the other line. Try to make it even. It slowly gets wider, but it's not that much. You guys don't have to, but if you guys do it, it'll just give it that extra detail, you know, to make it more accurate. And right here is just a rough, like, shapes, rough sketch of it. And then we'll start adding the details later on, and then the details will just start falling in place. And then right here is just an oval shape. And as you can see, it gets pretty close to the top and to the bottom and the sides. And right here I'm just pointing out that it should be the same on each side, the same space. And then the inside is just an oval shape, and it's pretty small, this one compared to the one that we did around that one. So now we can start doing this side, and as you guys can see, this side, the arm, this line for the arm is a lot longer than the one on the right. Right here, just fixing it, small changes, because I noticed that it's a little bit lower, you know. And then just try to make them the same thickness, both arms, so they're supposed to be the same like thickness. Because you make one more skinny than the other one, it's just gonna look weird, you know. All right, so now for this one, I'm gonna start doing the once again the circle right here for where the pole is supposed to be. And then just try to make it the same size as the other one, so you guys compare it to the other one. And once again, I'm using that line that we did as a reference. Right here, I'm just measuring the how thick that it is, and it's pretty much the same, so that's good. And now once again, we're gonna start doing the top, and this one's a lot lower than the other one, so it's almost at the same line level as that spike, the one in the left. So now we know not to make it higher than that. Now let's just make one like this rectangle shape and try to get it the same size. So I'm using the paper just so I can see that it's the same thickness, you know. So as you guys can see, I use a paper. It just makes it more easier. I do have a ruler, but a ruler is more bulky, and the paper is like just really easy to move around, you know. So now I'm gonna start doing the inside, the bolt, what I call a bolt, because it just looks like a bolt, like a nail, you know, that's there just so the jaws could move and stay together. I'm sorry if you guys could hear my chair, it's just I'm moving around. Alright. So now this is the oval shape, and then the other oval shape in the middle. And compare this one to the other one. Try to make it the same size, like basically the same size and everything. So right here I noticed that this one's a lot more bigger, like the oval shape in the middle. So I just make it a little bit smaller and skinnier. Just try to make it the same as the other one, and it doesn't have to be 100% the same, but just try to get as close as you can. That way it doesn't look that off once you do once you finish your drawing. So now we're gonna extend this line. Another parallel line to that one, and then I try to compare it to this one, and I notice that I make the one on the left too smaller, skinnier. So as you can see right here, it's a big difference, so I just make it a little bit more thicker. And now we're gonna start doing like the claws, which are basically triangles. If you guys really look at the shapes, it's basically just a triangle. So right here I'm looking at this line, how far the triangle is compared to the circle. So just look at the space, and then it's like even. Each space in between each triangle is like the same size line, and then just try to make all the triangles the same size, you know, roughly.
Try this yourself. It's extremely dangerous.
And then just try to round it off with that. And once again, just look at the reference just to get a better idea. Now we can raise the line in between. You guys can see all those triangles that we did pointing down. They're almost the same size, everything. Like they're almost the same length, the same thickness, everything. So that's one of those small details that you guys could keep in mind while you guys are doing it. And right here I'm just looking at how far this one starts, and you guys can see it doesn't match up the same as the reference, but like I said, it doesn't matter as long as it still looks like a claw. Then it's all good, you know. It's not gonna be the same for you guys, so as long as you guys do the same thing, like the same size of each one, even if it doesn't line up with the one on top like the reference, doesn't matter. And then these claws right here, these triangles are a little bit smaller than the ones that we did on the top. So he does have like 4 triangles, including like the end. And then just round it off. And you guys can see the bottom one's a lot smaller than the one on the top. Like it's not that long. So now we can start doing like the inside, like the shadows of the other side, which is basically like another more triangle shapes. And as you guys see there, it just goes a little bit higher than the triangle shapes that we did first. And right here, look at the reference. Look at the shapes that the shadow makes, and just try to do that on your drawing, you know. Here we go. And I believe I do color the shadows in, just so it's not that confusing. You guys know which are the shadows. So right here I'm just erasing the lines in between the triangles, the reference lines. That way it looks a little bit more better, you know. So this is where I color in the shadows, just so it won't be that confusing. It could be a little bit easier on us. You guys don't have to do this. I just did it for you guys. That way you guys can see that what's what, you know.
It's extremely dangerous.
And remember not to press too hard on your pencil, you know, or whatever you're using, because there's gonna be a lot of erasing. So if you guys press hard on your pencil while you guys are doing the drawing, then those lines are gonna be harder to erase. And then right here he does have 3 triangles at the bottom, which are a lot bigger than the ones at the top of that same jaw. They're like pretty long. And then they're basically under the ones on the top. Like they almost line up. So now that's one claw. So as you guys can see, it took us a little bit of planning, but it just makes it more accurate once we start everything. So now right here, just do the same thing for the claws. Look at how far the claw is from the circle on the left side, and then just look at the gaps, you know. And then it's slowly, these triangles slowly get bigger, but not by that much. And just try to make them the same size as the other claw, That way one claw won't look way bigger than the other one, you know. So try to use the other one as a reference. That way they could look alike. So as you guys can see, this one doesn't exactly go all the way to the end. That's why I said that the shapes that we do at the beginning, they're just rough shapes. They're just there just to help us place everything else, you know. It just makes it a lot more easier. And right here, just try to look at the angle, the way the line moves. And I don't quite get it the same as a reference, but it still comes out pretty good. Just erasing the lines in between the triangles now. And then it does take me a while to get this, the angle of this line right here, because it's, I don't know, it was just really hard for me to get it because it's kind of round at the top and then it's pretty much like straight on the side. Now we could do the same thing on the bottom. And once again, try to make these triangles the same size as the ones under the claw, which I pointed out right there. So as I'm doing them, I'm looking at the other ones on the other claw, just so I could know that I'm getting them like close, roughly the same size. Right, I'm just looking at it to see if they look the same or they look even, and if it doesn't look the same, like if both claws don't look the same, just make any changes, you know. It doesn't have to be like the reference, it doesn't have to be like mine. If there's anything you guys could change just to make it better, go for it, you know. And then again, it has the 3 spikes at the bottom, which roughly line up with the ones on the top, and these are bigger than the ones on the top. They're like a little bit longer. Now I'm just erasing the lines in between. And we got our other claw. The only thing we need to do now is just do the shadows in the inside. And they're gonna be roughly the same size. So now for this one, I know that this line goes at this angle, and then the waist is pretty thin, as you guys can see right here. It's pretty thin. Right here, I roughly show that it's like it lines up with the neck area, and then actually make this a little bit too long. That's like I mentioned before. So maybe you guys can make that a little bit shorter, you know. It doesn't have to be shorter, but I do end up making it a little bit longer, but it still doesn't have like a big impact, you know. It doesn't change that much. And then right here, I'm just looking at the shadows for the other side of the other claw, and I noticed that these are a little bit further. Like the ones on the other claw, they're like almost at the same level as the triangles, and then this one, the ones on top go a lot lower, you know. And sometimes it doesn't line up. I'm pretty sure that not everybody's are gonna line up. So like I said before, just make any changes so it could just look good on your drawing. Even though it doesn't line up the same on your drawing, you guys could just make any small changes just so it could look alright, you know. So it is taking more time, but as you guys can see, we got I'm guessing like the hardest part was the claws. So now that we got the claws, the rest is just gonna be a lot more easier. And it's been like 30 minutes, and it seems like it's been a long time just for this, but like I said, the more time that you spend on it, the better it's gonna look. So right here, as you guys can see, it goes a little bit higher on the waist area, and then it roughly lines up with the side of the head. And then right here I was just measuring it because it should roughly be that length. So I just do a line just so I can know that I placed it in the right spot. And then I know that the point is roughly under the shoulder, the left shoulder. And then it makes like a carrot shape. And the one on the right is almost straight. But I think extend it. I make it a little bit longer just because it didn't look right for me. Although it matches up in size as the reference. But for some reason I wasn't happy with this. So I believe I extend it a little bit more. I can't believe I do that or make it shorter. It's one of the two. So this is where I erase it. So, I guess I made it shorter. Thought I made it bigger, but I guess I made it shorter. So as you can see, it does go at an angle. It's not straight down. It makes this weird shape. It looks like almost like a carrot. So now there's a small line right here for where the. So then I do a line right here going across. Right here, I cut off like the point of the carrot, and that's just to place this part right here on the leg, like the black spot. That's just to help us know how far to make it. And then on this side, it starts around there. Oh, I guess right here I'm doing like the what is that? Like the stinger. Just connect it. It makes like another. I don't know what is that. It looks like a pepper, not like those big peppers, but just those. You know what? Never mind. I'll shut up. Like when I was doing it, it reminded me of those Christmas lights, those like really big lights. I don't know if you guys seen them or you guys know what I mean. They're like on a string. They're all connected, but they're really big. While I was doing it, that's what it reminded me of. Like I said, I always look at shapes and lines, the length of lines, the angles of lines. So when I was doing it, that's what it reminded me of. So now on this side, it makes this like seed shape, like this. I don't know, it just looks like a seed. So as you guys can see, it's almost, if you guys do a straight line from the shoulder going down, it should roughly be on the same level, you know, on the same, like right under the shoulder basically. And then he has these two lines that split it into 3 pieces. Right there I just sharpened my pencil just to make the lines a little bit more better. And then on this side it starts a little bit lower, this one. So right there I just do a line just so it could roughly match up on the same level. And right here I just extend that just so I can know where to do the other line that goes in the middle. And then we're gonna use that reference line that we did where we cut off the carrot shape just so we don't make it longer than that. And then right here I just start doing the leg. So you guys can see on the reference, it connects to that part of the body. And then right here I just do the other line just to make it the same as the other one. And then right here I do these right here, which has 3 2. And then just try to make them even. Right here I make them too close together. Like the one at the top is way bigger. The shape on the top is way bigger than the other ones. And I do change that later on. I'm not sure if I changed that right now. Alright, so now we got that right here. I noticed that right in the middle of that shape, that's where the leg starts, and it basically makes like a box shape. And this one doesn't connect to the body. It gets pretty close to the body, but it doesn't. And then the lines should roughly be the same length, this one and this one. And then in the middle, just do a straight line going down, you know. It kind of makes like a narrow pointing to the leg. And then right here I was just roughly getting the length of the leg, which is basically the length of the body. I'm using my fingers just to get a rough estimate. It doesn't have to be perfect, you know, but it's roughly that length. So now we're doing this side, and now once again I measure with my fingers, I think. So I measure this one and that one just to get a rough estimate of how long it should be, which I got it pretty close, so I'm gonna leave it. So now that we got this point right here, we're just gonna do like a line going this way and another one the other way, and it makes this shape right here, which is gonna be like the foot, like the bottom. And now that we got that, we could just connect both lines. So I know it starts around here, so now we're just gonna connect it to the one on top right here, and they should roughly give us the right shape, you know. And it's the same thing on this side.
It's extremely dangerous.
You see, it's pretty easy to get the lines and the shapes if you guys do those rough shapes at the beginning. And then right here I do a line going across, that way I could roughly get them on the same level, like the nail. It's not a nail, I don't know what that is. It's like I guess like the foot, but it's the pointy foot. I don't know what I'm talking about, but you guys know what I mean. Hopefully. And then once again just connect it to the top, and it just gives you the shape. And then right here I'm doing the point, the foot point, the point foot. And once again just try to make them the same size. And now on this one it has like this line right here, and then from there we could just connect it to the bottom, and it gives us a dash side, and it just makes it look like 3D in a way. And we're pretty much done. I think the only thing we need now is just adding any small details. Oh yeah, I guess we can't forget the wings. So the wings are pretty easy because we know that it starts at the shoulder and it gets pretty close to the face, like to the head, and then it should roughly be the same length as the point on the head, like the black, as I pointed it earlier. And it just is like really long oval shape. And then I know that the wing doesn't go higher than the point where the spike on the head is. It's roughly on the same level as the claw, you know. We're gonna use that same reference that we did for the claw just to make the wing. Now on the bottom right here it doesn't line up at all because like I said, I make the torso, like the waist area longer than the reference, so it doesn't really line up for me right here like the reference. But like I said, it doesn't have to be like the reference. I make it work for me because on the reference this part of the wing is pretty close to the legs, but right here it's not for me, so it doesn't really matter, you know. It doesn't have to be 100% like the reference as long as it still looks like them. So once again I'm just looking at the shape that it makes. And then he has these two lines in the middle, and just try to make them evenly spaced inside. And then he has another one here, and then these I believe go down. Yeah, and once again he has two, so just try to make them evenly spaced. And then now to do the other one, you can barely see it, like right, this one right here at the top of the neck, you guys can see that's our wing. And then you can see a little bit under the head and the right side of the neck. And we're pretty much done. So now just go over your drawing, make any small changes. Like I said before, I do change some things, but we're pretty much done. So this is how he ends up looking like. So as you guys can see, I did color him, and I did make some changes. I changed, what did I change? I know I changed something, because once that you guys got your drawing like that, it's basically almost like a rough sketch of it in a way, because now is the time to make any changes. Now is the time where something's gonna look weird. Now is the time that you guys could change it, you know, now that you guys got your overall drawing. So maybe one of the claws looks really weird, now's the time to change it. Or maybe now you notice that the spikes on the head don't look the same as the reference, or at least close to it, then change it. Maybe the eye is too big or is too small, or the neck is too big. Now's the time to make any small changes, you know. And I did make a mistake. I don't know if you guys are gonna notice. I don't think you guys are gonna notice, but the shoulders, like the black shoulders, don't line up. The one on the left is way lower, and I made that mistake when I redrew the drawing, because what I like to do is, once I have that sketch right there that you guys saw that we drew, I erase it, like I completely erase it, and then you can still see the drawing, like the lines. You can still see the drawing of Scizor, and since I can still see it, it's pretty light, but I can still see it. So then I just go over those lines, you know. I can still see them. So, and then that's the time where I make the changes, you know. So if I notice something doesn't line up right, that's when I change it, you know, before I do the actual line. I don't think I think I just changed. What I changed? I remember I changed something, but I don't remember what. The eye, maybe? I don't know what I changed. Honestly, I can't remember. But I didn't make like a big change. It wasn't that big to be like that noticeable. As you guys seen, that I can't remember what I changed. But yeah, so that's what I do. I tend to do. And then I just go over the lines just to make it a little bit more cleaner. And then I used markers to color it. I'll show you guys the coloring process right now, so you guys have that on screen right now. And I used Prisma Premier color markers, and I didn't outline it. If you guys are planning to outline it, I recommend that you guys do that before you erase the drawing, you know. Just outline it in pen or marker or whatever, and then once it's dry, just erase all those lines like a lot of people do on YouTube, or a lot of people do generally when they ink their lines. And then I just used red for the main color, and then I used like this pink, like this I don't know, this really like dark pink. And then I used just like a dark red for the shadows, and just a regular like baby blue for the eyes and the bolts. And then I used different shades of gray for the dark areas. And basically that's it. And the same thing for the wings. I just used different shades of gray. If you guys are using color pencils or whatever, you guys could just do that, because I'm pretty bad at drawing. I'm not that good at drawing. I mean coloring. Well, I'm not that good at drawing either, but I'm not that good at coloring, so I don't really color my drawings. But I think it came out pretty good. Honestly, I'm happy with it. And once again, the only thing that I would change is the shoulders. Like the left one's way lower than the one on the right. And I did that when I was redrawing it. I didn't notice, I didn't pay attention, and that's what happens. But it's not that noticeable, but it is something that bothers me. If I don't know, if I just keep looking at it, it keeps bothering me more and more. But it's not that noticeable unless you were judging the drawing. But other than that, I think it came out pretty good. Like I said before, it's not 100% like the reference, but we're pretty close, so that's what counts. So hopefully you guys found this tutorial helpful. If this really helped you, this tutorial really helped you out, please leave a like. It really helps me out. And share it to your friends, to whatever. And if you guys want to share it with us, with me, and everyone else, just share it with me on Twitter, my email, or my Facebook. I have them in the description. Just send me your drawing, and then with your name, if you want your name on it or whatever. Maybe where you're from. It doesn't have to be where you're from. So maybe like if you're from England, you can say your name. It doesn't have to be your full name. You know, you guys could just put your first name or your nickname, or even your YouTube name. You guys could put, and then I'll just put the drawing at the beginning of my next video. I'll put it at the beginning. As you guys saw in this one, I put my nephew Brian's celebrity drawing. He drew that off one of my videos, so I could do the same thing with you guys, you know, where I put your drawing at the beginning so everybody else could see with your name, and if you want where you're from. For example, I'm from California, so if I would send it in, I just put my name's Jose, by the way. I don't think any of you guys know unless you've seen my earlier videos where I put my actual name. But I would put, you know, I would send it in, like I said, on Twitter. Just share it with me on my email, just send it, and you guys could ask your parents if you're not old enough for permission, you know, and they could do that for you, hopefully. And just you guys could just, for example, I would have put Jose and then California, or maybe I put like Jose and then my last name initial, which is a V. So maybe I'd put Jose V and then California, and then, you know, and then I'd put that on my video so everybody else could see all the other Team Rocket grunts. And yeah, so if you guys haven't seen my other videos, or if this is the first time that you guys see my video, make sure to check out my channel. I have a lot of Pokemon tutorials and just a lot of random videos. And random video, I mean like speed drawings, like I recently did Predator. So it came out pretty good. It took me like 4 hours to draw it. I could have done a lot more, but honestly I got tired of drawing, so I stopped trying at the end, but it still came out pretty good. It was my first like big drawing that like I tried to like really detailed, you know. Is the biggest one I've done, so that's why I'm trying to do those kind of things where I have big projects. That way I get more into drawing. That way I could draw for longer, because that's one of the things that I have a hard time. It's just drawing for long periods of time. But yeah, so hopefully you guys liked the video and you guys enjoyed it. Once again, if it helped you guys out, please leave a like. And if you like drawing Pokemon tutorials, then just subscribe to my channel by pressing subscribe at the bottom to join Team Rocket, you know. So hopefully you guys enjoyed the video, and I'll just catch you guys on the next one. Team Rocket Draws out.